Right now at 5, police in Prince George's County are issuing a warning to ATM users after finding suspicious devices at 2 banks.
To show you new photos from Greenbelt Police that show metal plates placed over the cash slots. It's a new crime called cash trapping.
You withdrew $200 from an ATM, the cash dispensed. You grabbed it and left. Transaction complete, you think? Oh, you wish. That ATM just captured your card number, your PIN, and enough information to clone your debit card. And you won't know until your account is completely drained. Today, I'm exposing how the ATM Cash Trap works, why even cautious people are falling victim, and the critical steps you must take right now to protect every dollar in your account. Let's get into it. The ATM that steals while it pays. I'll tell you the story of a victim called Sarah. She needed cash for a farmer's market that only accepted cash payments. She stopped at her usual ATM, the one inside her bank's vestibule that she'd used dozens of times. She inserted her card, entered her PIN, withdrew $100, and grabbed her cash. The whole transaction took maybe 45 seconds. 3 days later, her account was empty. $4,847 gone through ATM withdrawals across 2 states she'd never even visited. Her debit card was still in her wallet. She hadn't lost it, hadn't shared her PIN with anyone. The only thing she'd done was use that same ATM she'd trusted for years. That ATM had been compromised with a cash trap device, and Sarah never stood a chance of detecting it. Traditional ATM skimmers were bulky overlays placed on card readers, things you could potentially spot if you knew what to look for. Cash traps are different. They're installed deep inside the ATM, completely invisible from the outside. No external modifications, no suspicious attachments, nothing to see, nothing to feel, nothing to indicate anything is wrong. The ATM functions perfectly. You get your cash, your receipt prints normally, your balance shows correctly. Everything seems fine. But while you're completing your transaction, the cash trap is capturing your card data and recording your PIN through internal components you can't access or inspect. The sophistication is chilling. These aren't amateurs with basic equipment. These are organized criminal operations installing professional-grade data capture devices that leave no visible trace. But here's what makes this absolutely terrifying. The ATMs being targeted aren't just standalone machines in sketchy locations. They're compromising ATMs inside bank branches, at major retailers, at airports, places you'd consider safe. The cash trap installations are so clean that even bank security teams don't notice them during routine inspections. And once installed, they can operate for weeks or months, harvesting hundreds of cards before anyone discovers them. But you want to know the worst part? The part that'll make your stomach drop? These devices don't just sit there passively collecting data. What they do with your information is a masterclass in coordinated criminal precision. Let me show you what I mean. How cash trap devices actually work. Understanding the technology helps you grasp why this scam is so dangerous and so hard to detect. Traditional skimmers attach to the outside of ATMs, reading your card's magnetic stripe when you inserted it. You could potentially spot them by wiggling the card reader or looking for color mismatches and loose parts. Cash trap devices are installed inside the ATM's card reader mechanism. Criminals gain access either by posing as maintenance technicians, bribing actual technicians, or exploiting physical security gaps when ATMs are serviced or restocked. Once inside, they install miniature components that intercept the data flowing between your card and the ATM's legitimate reader. The card data capture. When you insert your card, it passes through the cash trap's reader before reaching the ATM's legitimate reader. The device captures all the information stored on your card's magnetic stripe, card number, expiration date, cardholder name. This happens in milliseconds, completely transparent to you and to the ATM systems. The PIN recording. This is where it gets truly insidious. Cash traps use one of 3 methods to capture your PIN. Method 1, internal keypad overlay, where a paper-thin overlay installed on the back of the keypad buttons records each key you press. It's positioned inside the keypad housing, making it impossible to detect from the outside. Method 2, micro camera, where they use a tiny camera hidden inside the ATM's card slot area or in the ceiling of the card reader, records your hand movements as you type your PIN. These cameras are smaller than a pencil eraser and positioned to have a clear view of the keypad. Method 3, Wireless signal interception. The most sophisticated cash traps intercept the electronic signal from the keypad to the ATM's processor, capturing the PIN digitally without any physical recording device. It reminds me of the story of a certain Rebecca, a 33-year-old nurse from Texas who used an ATM at a hospital where she worked. The ATM was in a secure area inside the hospital, monitored by security cameras. Unknown to her, the ATM had been compromised with a cash trap device for 3 weeks, capturing data from an estimated 200-plus hospital employees. Rebecca's card was cloned along with dozens of others. The criminals waited until they had a large batch of cards, then executed a coordinated cash-out across ATMs in 4 states on the same night. Rebecca lost $3,600. Other victims from the same hospital lost anywhere from $800 to $9,400 each. The hospital's security footage showed nothing suspicious. The ATM appeared normal, functioned normally, and showed no signs of tampering. The cash trap was only discovered when a bank technician doing unrelated maintenance opened the machine and spotted the unauthorized device inside. What makes this particularly devastating is the delay. Cash trap devices often stay installed for weeks, collecting hundreds of cards before criminals execute the cash-out operation. You might use a compromised ATM today, and the fraudulent withdrawals might not happen until 3 weeks from now, long after you've forgotten which ATMs you used and when. This timing delay makes it nearly impossible to identify which specific ATM was compromised. When your bank asks where you might have been skimmed, you can't point to a specific location because you've used multiple ATMs over the past month and have no reason to suspect any particular one. Now, if you're realizing how vulnerable you are every single time you use an ATM and you want to stay ahead of scams like this, smash that like button and subscribe right now. These attacks are evolving every week, and staying informed is the only way to protect your money. Now, let me show you the most frustrating part of the victim's experience in all of these. Your bank might not refund you. Here's the part victims find most devastating. Many banks refuse to refund money lost to cash trap attacks, and they have arguments that hold up under scrutiny. When fraudulent withdrawals occur using your correct card number and correct PIN, banks classify these as authorized transactions. From their perspective, the person making the withdrawal had both pieces of information required for legitimate access, the card and the PIN. Federal regulations protect consumers from unauthorized electronic fund transfers, but there's a critical loophole. If you voluntarily disclosed your PIN or failed to protect it adequately, your protections may be limited or void. The burden of proof falls on you to demonstrate that you did not compromise your own PIN. You need to prove the PIN was obtained through technological means, the cash trap, rather than through your negligence. Without evidence of a specific compromised ATM and the cash trap device itself, this is nearly impossible. Even when you can prove you were careful, you never shared your PIN, never wrote it down, never used it anywhere suspicious, banks still deny claims based on the authorized transaction technicality. David P., a 47-year-old teacher from Michigan, lost $5,200 to cash trap fraud. His bank denied his claim 3 times. Their reasoning: all withdrawals were made using your correct card number and PIN. Without evidence of unauthorized access to your PIN, we must conclude these were authorized transactions. David provided bank statements showing he'd never made withdrawals in the cities where the fraud occurred. He provided time-stamped evidence he was at work during the fraudulent withdrawals. He filed a police report documenting the ATM Cash Trap scam. Still denied. He eventually hired a consumer rights attorney. After 7 months of fighting and over $2,000 in legal fees, he recovered $4,100 of the stolen money. Net loss after legal fees: $3,100. Some banks have better fraud protection policies than others. Some quickly refund victims of obvious organized ATM fraud, but many take an adversarial approach, treating customers as liars trying to get free money rather than victims of sophisticated crime. The appeals process is lengthy, frustrating, and has no guaranteed outcome. During the months you're fighting for your money, you're without those funds, potentially unable to pay rent, buy groceries, or meet basic financial obligations. And here's the cruel irony: the safer you think you are, the more vulnerable you become, because the next evolution of cash trap technology is targeting the exact ATMs you trust most, the ones that feel safest, the locations you think are safe but aren't. When people think of ATM skimming, they imagine sketchy standalone ATMs in gas stations or convenience stores in bad neighborhoods. They think using ATMs at their bank branch or inside secure locations protects them. They're wrong. Cash trap criminals have evolved their target selection specifically because people have learned to avoid suspicious ATMs. They're now focusing on locations where people let their guard down. Here are some of them. Inside bank branches. ATMs in bank lobbies or vestibules feel inherently safe. You're at your bank. There's security. There are cameras. How could anything be wrong? This false sense of security is exactly why criminals target these locations. People use these ATMs without the wariness they'd apply elsewhere. Installation is surprisingly easy. Criminals pose as maintenance workers, wearing uniforms and carrying service equipment that look legitimate. Some have even used fake work orders and forged credentials to gain access. Bank employees often don't verify maintenance workers carefully, assuming they're legitimate. Airport ATMs. Travelers need cash and use airport ATMs frequently. The high volume of transactions means cash traps can harvest hundreds of cards quickly. The transient nature of travelers means victims often don't discover the fraud until days later when they're home, making it harder to connect the theft to a specific ATM. Hospital ATMs. Hospitals have ATMs for staff and visitors who need cash. These are often in secure areas, creating a perception of safety. The 24/7 operation and high foot traffic make them attractive targets. College campus ATMs. Students regularly use campus ATMs, trusting the university environment. These ATMs often see hundreds of transactions daily, allowing cash traps to capture massive amounts of data quickly. Shopping mall ATMs. Major retailers and malls have ATMs that people use while shopping. The busy public environment provides cover for criminals installing devices while appearing to be normal customers or maintenance personnel. Hotel ATMs. Guests use hotel ATMs because they're convenient and feel safe. Hotels often have contracts with ATM service companies, and employees don't question technicians who show up claiming to service the machines. Jennifer Park, a 41-year-old executive, only used the ATM inside her bank's main branch. She considered herself cautious and security conscious. She specifically avoided standalone ATMs at gas stations or stores. One Tuesday morning, she withdrew $400 from her bank's lobby ATM before a meeting. The following Monday, she discovered $7,100 missing from her account through withdrawals at ATMs across 3 states. The bank's lobby ATM had been compromised for 12 days with a cash trap device before being discovered. Over 150 customers were victimized. Jennifer's bank refunded her money after a 2-month investigation, but during that time, she bounced checks for her mortgage and car payment, damaging her credit score. The financial stress caused her to miss work, and the emotional toll was significant. The pattern is clear. Criminals deliberately target safe locations, specifically because people don't scrutinize these ATMs carefully. They blend in with the environment, appearing as maintenance workers, security personnel, or service technicians. They have professional-looking equipment, uniforms, and credentials that allow them to access ATMs without suspicion. But there's something even more disturbing about where this is heading. The technology is evolving faster than security measures can keep up, and what's coming next will make everything I've shown you look primitive. The next evolution, Cash Trap 2.0. As banks implement anti-skimming technology and security measures to combat traditional cash traps, criminals are adapting with terrifying sophistication. Here are some of the technologies they use. Deep insert devices. These are razor-thin components inserted deep inside the ATM's card slot, sometimes 12 to 18 inches into the machine. They're so well hidden that even technicians servicing the ATM might miss them. They capture card data as your card passes through, then transmit it wirelessly. Shimming technology. Unlike skimmers that read magnetic stripes, shimmers intercept data from chip cards. They're paper-thin devices that fit inside the card reader slot without blocking chip card functionality. You successfully use your chip card thinking it's secure, while the shimmer captures your data for later use at non-chip ATMs or for online fraud. AI-powered cash-out operations. Criminal organizations are using artificial intelligence to optimize their cash-out timing. The AI analyzes victim account activity patterns, identifies optimal withdrawal times when victims are least likely to be monitoring accounts, and coordinates simultaneous multi-state ATM hits to maximize stolen amounts before cards can be frozen. Hybrid attacks. Some operations combine cash trap data with other fraud methods. They capture your card and PIN from an ATM, then use that information to access your online banking, request duplicate cards, or link your account to digital digital payment apps for broader exploitation. Wireless signal jamming. Advanced cash traps include jamming technology that blocks your phone's signal while you're at the ATM, preventing real-time fraud alerts from reaching you until after you leave the area. By the time your phone reconnects and you receive the alerts, criminals have already made multiple fraudulent withdrawals. Security experts warn that we're in an arms race. Every security measure banks implement, criminals study and find ways to defeat. Every cash trap device discovered and analyzed, criminals learn from and improve their next version. The technology gap is widening. Banks update their security systems every few years. Criminal organizations update their attack methods every few months. The advantage is shifting toward the criminals. So how do you protect yourself when the threat is invisible? The technology is evolving faster than defenses, and even the safest ATMs can be compromised. The answer isn't what most people expect, because the most effective protection doesn't involve technology at all. How to protect yourself. Strategies that actually work. Defending against cash trap attacks requires a combination of careful ATM selection, behavioral vigilance, and account monitoring that most people aren't practicing. Here are some defensive mechanisms that you can adopt. Minimize ATM usage. The most secure ATM transaction is the one you don't make. Consider alternatives such as get cash back at grocery stores or retailers when making purchases. Use digital payment apps for transactions instead of cash when possible. Withdraw larger amounts less frequently, reducing the number of ATM visits. The reason is simple. Every ATM transaction is a potential exposure. Reducing frequency reduces risk. The next one is this. Choose ATMs carefully. When you must use an ATM, location matters. Do the following. Prioritize ATMs inside bank branches during business hours when staff are present. Avoid standalone ATMs in isolated locations. Choose well-lit, high-traffic areas with visible security cameras. Use the same ATM consistently. If it gets compromised, you'll know where to report. But remember, even safe ATMs can be compromised. No location is guaranteed secure. Up next, protect your PIN. Shield the keypad completely with your hand and body when entering your PIN. Cover it from above and from the side. Some hidden cameras are positioned to view from multiple angles. Complete coverage is essential. Never use obvious PINs like 1, 2, 3, 4, your birth year, or repeated numbers. Use a random combination that's difficult to guess but easy for you to remember. Never write your PIN down or store it in your wallet or phone. If your wallet is stolen along with your debit card, a written PIN gives criminals everything they need. Next one, monitor your account obsessively. Enable real-time transaction alerts for all debit card activity. You should receive a notification for every withdrawal, every purchase, every transaction. Check your account balance daily. Not weekly, not monthly, daily. The faster you detect fraudulent withdrawals, the faster you can freeze your card and limit damage. Most cash trap frauds are discovered by victims, not by banks. Your vigilance is your primary defense. Very importantly, set withdrawal limits. Contact your bank and set the lowest daily ATM withdrawal limit you can function with. If you typically need $200 to $300 per week, set your daily limit at $300 or $400. Higher limits only benefit criminals if your card is cloned. Lower limits won't prevent fraud, but they limit the damage per day and might give you time to catch it before massive amounts are stolen. Another one is to report suspicious ATMs immediately. If an ATM behaves strangely, retains your card, displays unusual errors, has unexpected screens, or just feels wrong, report it to the bank immediately. Don't assume it's a minor glitch. It might be a compromised machine, and your report could prevent others from being victimized. Take photos of the ATM, note the location and time, and file a report with both the bank and local police. Next, freeze your card at the first sign of trouble. The moment you see an unauthorized withdrawal, even a single small test transaction, freeze your card immediately through your banking app or by calling your bank. Don't wait to see if more charges appear. Don't assume it's a mistake that will be corrected. Cash trap operations often start with small test withdrawals to confirm the cloned card works. Then execute large withdrawals immediately after. That first small charge is your warning. Act on it instantly. Diversify your banking. Consider keeping your primary savings in a separate account at a different bank from your daily checking account. If your debit card is compromised, criminals only access your checking account, not your total savings. This separation creates a firewall. Even if one account is drained, your other funds remain secure. Consider going cash light. The ultimate protection against ATM scams is not using ATMs. While not practical for everyone, reducing cash dependence through digital payments, credit cards, and electronic transfers transfers eliminates most ATM-related risk. Evaluate whether you truly need cash for your daily life or if it's just habit. Many people find they can function with minimal or zero cash transactions. These protections require effort and discipline. They're inconvenient compared to carelessly using any ATM whenever you need cash. But that inconvenience is trivial compared to losing thousands of dollars and spending months fighting your bank for a refund you might never receive. What banks and law enforcement are doing and why it's not enough. Banks are aware of cash trap attacks. They're implementing security measures, anti-skimming technology in ATMs, enhanced monitoring for unusual withdrawal patterns, upgraded encryption, and regular security inspections. But the implementation is inconsistent. Not all ATMs have the latest security features. Budget constraints mean older ATMs in less profitable locations receive fewer upgrades. The inspection frequency varies. Some ATMs are checked weekly, others monthly or quarterly. Law enforcement is investigating and occasionally breaking up cash trap operations. When they do, they find sophisticated criminal enterprises with millions in stolen funds, professional equipment, and international connections. But prosecutions are difficult. Many operations are run from overseas. The actual people making fraudulent withdrawals are often low-level recruits who claim they didn't know the cards were stolen. The data is transmitted through encrypted channels and laundered quickly through complex networks. Recovery rates are low, even when arrests are made. Stolen money is rarely recovered. It's been withdrawn in cash, moved through multiple accounts, transferred overseas, or spent on untraceable goods. The scale of the problem exceeds the resources allocated to fighting it. There are thousands of ATMs across the country. Criminals can compromise one, harvest hundreds of cards, and move to the next location before anyone discovers the device. Bank investigators and police can only respond after victims report fraud. By then, the cash trap device has often been removed, the money is gone, and the criminals have moved on. Some jurisdictions are creating ATM fraud task forces, coordinating between multiple banks and law enforcement agencies to identify patterns and track criminal operations. These efforts have had some success, but they're reactive rather than preventive. The fundamental problem remains. Cash trap technology evolves faster than security measures. Every time banks implement new protections, criminals study them and develop countermeasures. You cannot rely on banks or law enforcement to protect you. Your defense is your own vigilance, your own habits, your own monitoring. The safety of your money is your responsibility, and the threat is real, immediate, and growing. If this video showed you a threat you weren't aware of, share it with everyone in your life. Also, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell for ongoing scam alerts and security updates. These threats evolve constantly, and staying informed is your best defense. Drop a comment below if you've been victimized by ATM fraud or if you've spotted suspicious ATMs. Your experience could help others avoid the same trap.